Welcome to this video on dividing polynomials by monomials. Let's begin. In this section, you will learn to divide polynomials by monomials. Before we start with algebra, let's just remind ourselves how adding fractions works. So, for example, let's say I have 1/5 plus 2/5 plus 3/5. Well, what we do is we add our numerators together, 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the while keeping the denominator 5 the same. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, so we end up with 6 over 5. We could reverse this process, and if we have something like 1 plus 2 plus 3 over 5, we could rewrite it as 1/5 plus 2/5 plus 3/5. Okay? So this process, again, is reversible. We can then generalize this process, so if we have x plus y plus z all over w, again, we can always rewrite this as x over w plus y over w plus z over w, where the variables can assume any value, except for, remember, we are not allowed to divide by 0. Okay, so we're going to use this general property of division to divide a polynomial by a monomial. So let's start with this first example. So we have x cubed minus x squared plus 2x all divided by 3x. So, as you might guess from the previous examples, we are going to rewrite this as 3 separate fractions. So we have x cubed divided by 3x minus 6x squared divided by 3x plus 2x divided by 3x. So this is the part where we have to use, you might remember, the quotient rule of exponents. And so remember, if we have a to the m divided by a to the n power, we have to subtract our exponents. So let's go ahead and put a 1 on all of the x's so we can remember what exponent is there. Okay, so we have 3 minus 1, so that's going to be x squared. Now, a very, very common mistake that I see is that people would write this. They would write 3x squared. So take a minute and see if you can figure out why putting the 3 right there is incorrect. Well, the answer is that the 3 is in the denominator, right? If it helps you, you can write this as 1/3. Okay, so be very careful that your values, your coefficients, don't accidentally drift upstairs or downstairs as you are doing this. Okay, so let's keep going. So now we have 6 divided by 3. That's easy. 6 divided by 3 is just 2. And then we have x squared divided by x to the first power. Again, the quotient rule tells us to subtract those exponents. 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, then we have 2/3. Well, 2/3 is just 2/3, and 1 minus 1 is 0, so we have x to the 0, and remember, anything raised to the 0 power, unless it's 0 itself, is just 1. Another way to think about that is that just these x's cancel out. So I can write this in the most simple form as x squared over 3 minus 2x plus 2/3. And that's my final answer. Let's do another example. So again, remember, a good strategy in these videos is as soon as you think you are getting the hang of it, pause the video, work the example on your own, and then unpause it to see if you are right. So the first thing we're going to do is we have 15y to the 4th divided by y squared. Again, we're going to break this up into smaller fractions. So we have minus 20y to the 3rd divided by 5y squared plus 5y squared divided by 5y squared. Okay, so 15 divided by 5 is 3. This time the 3 does go in the numerator. Okay, and then the quotient rule of exponents tells us to subtract. So 4 minus 2 is 2. So we have y squared, and that is going to be in the numerator. Okay, then we have 20 divided by 5 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1. So we have 4y to the first power, or just 4y. Last but not least, we can see that the 5's cancel out and the y squares canceled out. A lot of times people will think, right, that this is our final answer. However, right, there is something there, right? What is 5 divided by 5? It is not 0, my friends. It is 1, right? Y squared divided by y squared is not 0. It is 1. So you have to have a plus 1 here. 0 and 1, a lot of people confuse them, okay? But I think we can agree that if I have $0 or if I have $1, not the same, right? So the final answer is 3y squared minus 4y plus 1. So don't forget that plus 1 at the end. All right, example 3. So again, right, see if you can try this on your own before you watch me do it. So we have 18x to the 7th divided by 3x cubed minus 6x to the 5th divided by 3x cubed plus 9x to the 4th divided by 3x cubed. Okay, so 18 divided by 3 is 6, 7 minus 3 is 4, 6 divided by 3 is 2, 5 minus 3 is 2, 9 divided by 3 is 3, 4 minus 3 is 1. So this would be our final answer. All right, let's do another example. So now we're going to have 5y to the 10th power divided by 2y to the 4th minus 6y to the 8th power divided by 2y to the 4th power minus 8y to the 7th power divided by 2y to the 4th power. So 5 divided by 2 is just 5 divided by 2. Right? Remember, we don't like decimals. We want to leave things as fractions, even if they are improper fractions, meaning the numerator is larger than the denominator. So then we apply our quotient rule. 10 minus 4 is 6, so we have y to the 6th. Okay, here we have 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then 8 minus 4 is 4. Lastly, 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 7 minus 4 is 3. So this is the final answer.